Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. The case that I'm going to be looking into today is the case of missing person Charles Hovarth. He was a 20-year-old man who was on a trip for his 21st birthday, and then he just simply vanished off the face of the earth and nobody knows what happened to him to this day. This case was suggested by CD, so thank you for that. I appreciate any suggestions you guys have, and of course if you do have any more, please do let me know. Charles Calroy John Hovarth Allen was born on the 21st of August in 1968 to parents Denise and Max in Ontario, but he was actually raised in the United Kingdom. I couldn't really find much about him as a person or his childhood or anything like that, so let's jump to his later years. His 21st birthday was coming up and he actually decided that he wanted to travel across Canada from Quebec to British Columbia, and he was going to go and visit his father and godfather in Ontario before hiking backpacking across Canada. He was going to be arriving on the 3rd of May in 1989 in the city of Kelowna in British Columbia. Now during this journey he would be staying in a lot of hostels, homes of friends, just different places. He also stayed in a place called Tiny Tent Town Campsite, and this was on like Lakeshore Road and it was near Route 97. He also went ahead and registered as student at various student employee agencies during May of 1989. Obviously he wanted to try and earn a bit of money whilst he was travelling, and obviously that can keep fueling you to be able to travel for longer kind of thing. Now he would actually contact his mother regularly, and she got worried after a while he didn't contact. They also had plans to meet as well. I believe she actually bought him this trip for a birthday present, right? And she was also coming up to her 40th birthday. So what the plan was, he was going to travel across the country, visit his dad and visit all these different places, obviously where he was born and things like that. And then for a joint celebration of their birthday, he was then going to meet up with his mum and stepdad later on in Hong Kong, and they were going to celebrate both their birthdays together there. So that was the plan, but it never happened. He would contact his mum regular, and then all of a sudden those contacts stopped. Of course she got worried by that. She last received a fax from him on the 11th of May in 1989, and then that was it. Now of course they were trying to arrange to go to Hong Kong by August, so obviously she needed to contact him to get the details, where they were going to meet, blah blah blah, so that would enable her to buy her ticket. But he never did, so she never purchased a ticket to Hong Kong. And obviously as time went on and he still didn't contact her, she got really worried. She ended up ringing the Kelowna Police Department and asking if they could find her son and do searches and things, and after like a few phone calls to them, she ended up reporting her son as missing on the 10th of August 1989. So let's go back to the last day that Charles was actually seen, like the verified sighting of him. It was 26th of May 1989 and it was around noontime. He finished his work. It was just a 4-hour shift at a local amusement park, so he finished that, and then he went ahead and cashed a cheque for $20 at the Royal Bank in Orchard Park. This is when it's believed that he returned back to the campsite where he was staying, and then nothing. Of course, he was reported missing. The police launched an investigation into the area, into the campsite, into all the known places that he'd been, but obviously it was a foresty area. Another resident gave them Charles's shaving bag too. I don't know why he had that, whether he just borrowed it or something like that, who knows, but he passed that along as being part of Charles's belongings. I mean, this case is strange because over the years, Denise has been down there numerous times. Of course she has. She wants to find her son, like anyone would. So she's made loads and loads of trips down there, and on one occasion a manager gave her like 3 items of Charles's. He gave her a rosary, a tiny red paper Bible, and leather strap from Charles's boot. Now the thing was because there's quite a time before Charles was last seen, so he was last seen on the day in May, and then he wasn't reported missing until sort of mid-August. So there's a good few weeks there, because I believe because of this, his belongings, most of his belongings had actually been gotten rid of, because they probably just assumed that he had just left them and he just you know, gone and wasn't coming back from. So they've basically been done, which is really sad, because maybe they could have had some sort of clue in them as to what happened to Charles. So there wasn't anything like that. There was just, like I said, a few bits of his that were either laying around or other people had, but that was basically it. And then I read that his stuff actually got thrown in the spring of 1990. His tent, his belongings, his ID card, which I don't understand, because why would they throw that stuff out? Like, if he's missing, why did the police not seize it? Unless they didn't know the exact area that Charles was staying in, and then obviously they couldn't find the stuff that belonged to him. So after it's been sat there for ages, obviously the people at the campsite launched it. I don't know, but I have no idea why that stuff was thrown away. If that was the case, I've read kind of both things, that it was thrown away pretty early on, but then others say that it was thrown away in 1990, so I don't actually know. Police have stated that they, you know, would keep an open mind as to Charles's missing persons case and leave his file open. Well, until he was found, which still has not happened. Over the years, of course, there's been hope and things like that. In September of 95, a body was found in Kelowna, but they never told the Charles's family about it. They did find out about this on the news, and obviously they were thinking that it could be Charles, like anyone would. I would have thought the police would have notified them. Like, I know it might not have been him, but it also might have been him. Anyway, they didn't. So then the family found out, and they had this 6-week wait to find out whether it was Charles, and it was not. By 2010, the Serious Crime Unit listed Charles Hovarth Allen as deceased. Of course, there's theories in this case. There's also some strange occurrences in this case. Like, Denise was on a trip to Canada in March of 92, right? And then she's staying in this hotel, and she gets these 2 anonymous letters by taxi. They were going on about how her son was killed partying in that tent, in that campsite, that the locals or something had all gotten into a fight, and then he was killed during that. His body was then dumped in Lake Okanagan, and of course they put together a search party for that. All loads of volunteers came forward and they started searching the lake. The search went on for 3 days and they found nothing. They even had a submersible camera, and then somebody else joined in, another volunteer team. They went and searched under the old floating bridge, and they searched for a further 3 days. So the search went on for 6 days total, but they didn't discover anything, sadly. I believe the RCMP as well joined in on day 5, so they searched for like a day, and then everyone stopped searching because they just, I don't know, there was seemingly nothing there. In 2010, Denise posted up like a billboard asking for any information on her son's disappearance. And again, there's just been absolutely nothing. Obviously, there's been tips and things and little bits of information over the years. Nothing's ever been proven. Nothing's ever come forward to say as to where Charles is at all. There's just the information that we know, which I've already told you, and then that's it. Sadly, his father, his grandparents, his godfather have all since passed away, never finding out what happened to Charles. And his mother Denise said that her 2015 trip would likely be her last, because she was getting older now and she just couldn't keep doing these trips anymore, which is absolutely heartbreaking. She's dedicated, you know, most of her life after her son went missing to try and find him, and she's been there so many times. But obviously age catches up with you, sadly, and some people more than others. Like, some people get a lot more ailments and things when they're older, and you know, sadly she just can't do it anymore, which is so heartbreaking, because obviously she's not going to give up on the son, but she just can't go chasing down the leads anymore. Not only her health, you know, the finances too. It's a massive finance, keep traveling down to Canada all the time. You know, it costs a lot of money. Obviously it's the son, and money is like no object in that sense, but it is when it is restrictive, so you know, you can only do so much, and she's done a lot. In August of 2020, the High Court in the United Kingdom also came forward to rule that they most likely believed also that Charles Hovarth was deceased, and this was under the Presumption of Death Act. The police accepted pretty much straight away that Charles had died on, you know, the day that he went missing, kind of thing. But Denise has also found other information to the contrary. Apparently people have come forward to say that they'd seen him in, you know, the months following, after his actual last official sighting. So I believe that was May, wasn't it? So his last official sighting was May, and people have come forward to say that they've seen him in the following months after that. So Denise didn't necessarily believe that May was his final day. However, she does believe that he is deceased. She believes that in 1989 her son did die one way or another, murder, accident. However his sad death came about, she does believe that he is deceased. So it's a case of now, all this time after, she just wants his body back. She wants his body back. She wants to bring him back home and lay her son to rest. And like I said, she's done so much. She never gave up. She's done searches of her own. She's put together volunteer searches and searched places where, you know, suspected where his remains could have been. She's conducted her own research into people that could have been involved in what happened to Charles. Honestly, everything that she could possibly and physically do, she has done. And devastatingly, she hasn't got any more information after that. You know, she still doesn't know what happened to him. And of course, she is getting older now. Like she's already said herself, she can't make these journeys anymore. So I really wanted to do this case to put his name out there. There's not many videos on him. There's a few bits of articles and things. I believe there's like a whole thing on Unsolved Mysteries for him. But I just want to get this video out there. I want it to be shared as much as you can, or at least get his name out there. Like, just talk about Charles, because there must be somebody out there that knows something. It is widely believed that a lot of people have already passed away that could have known what happened to Charles. I don't know the ins and outs of that, whether Denise believes that they could have been involved or they knew what happened to him because of something. I don't know. But that is what was said, that they've since passed away and they've never told the police anything. Again, there's no proof that these people knew anything, but they could have done. And just after all these years, I just really want to bring him home for Denise, because it's really heartbreaking when you look at these cases and then the parents have spent like their entire lives looking for them and they never find them and they pass away without ever getting that closure. That is just awful. So please, if anybody out there knows anything, please contact Denise, the authorities, just anyone with any information whatsoever, so that Charles can finally come home after 33 long years. But yeah, that's the end of the video. If you guys have enjoyed this, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for similar content. Anyway, that's all I have today on the case of Charles Hovarth. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.